Thank you for listening. I appreciate your time. I just wanted to let you know that if you wanted any information about BlackSwanTV.org or the Black Swan or the Black Coin community that we're building, um, we're doing a lot of work with scholarship, um, traveling abroad, investing abroad, investing in Black countries, investing in Black businesses abroad, Black lands. So we got a lot of things going on. So what we're trying to do is build a community around a ecosystem. So like I said, we were using the blockchain technology because this is something that is already going on. This is something that's already happening. This is something that people have now recognized that is going to be a part of the future. And so there's a lot of reasons that Black coin fits our agenda. And so it takes a lot to explain that. And this is the reason why I'm producing this content. We're going to integrate uh, an educational aspect so that we can piece together our history, piece together our worldview from an Afrocentric perspective, so that the narrative, the false narrative that's being projected or propagated to us that is really dismantling our family structures, dismantling our communities so that we aren't powerful. And these codes are in the Bible. This is Genesis 11. When you really read it word for word and then analyze the story from your ancestral knowledge, actually this as like the offspring of Ham being the father of the African nations, Cush, right? Mizraim, which is Egypt, right? Put, which is, some people think is Libya, some people think it could be Kerma, and then you have Canaan, the four Ks, right? And so a lot of the language has been confused and switched around so that we don't know each other's speech. But we are the offspring of the diaspora, and we know that. You know, we are the children of the diaspora. There is no narrative that has to be propagated to prove to us that that's our reality. We have brothers and sisters that speak different languages. You can go to Salvador Bahia, right? The second most African population in the world to Nigeria, which is the mother of the melanated people of this planet. And so there is a connection between the North American and the South America. And how is that connection there? Well, we are the offspring of the diaspora. And it's talked about in Genesis 11. And so we don't know a lot about our history, even our history here in the Americas, and how the people the Africans that were enslaved, how they had to cope and adapt in the environment where they were not allowed to educate themselves, but yet they still had to learn about their environment and learn about their world and have a worldview formed through bits and pieces of truth and bits and pieces of themselves and bits and pieces of an oppressor that's keeping them in the darkness with false artificial aspirations. And so we know this to be true. We know this to be facts. We know this to be evidence by our experiences, particularly those who travel abroad. And if you go to the Caribbean, you see the reality of these people. If you go in the Central America, you see that in reality, there is literally a Black nation, Belize, with a Black man on the flag, alongside with the indigenous man, literally. And we're fighting for reparations in a country where we live amongst those who were vehemently fighting against our own emancipation. So what we have been done, the worldview, our conquest appetite, which is part of masculinity, which is part of the life journey and the life experience, because this realm is what God has made for us. And we was put in here as sovereign human beings. But what we have been done has been taught or conditioned to accept a artificial intelligence, to accept a artificial reality where we know that Christopher Columbus did not discover this hemisphere. He was ushered here by African navigations who mapped out this whole hemisphere, that traveled the Atlantic. And this is known history that has been omitted to continue to perpetuate a false narrative, to perpetuate a supremacy that does not align with reality or align with the true history of the planet Earth and the true reality of the planet Earth. What we do need to do is give people props to where they should be credited, and people should be accredited by their fruits. So if you're technologically advanced or technologically more superior, then that is where you reign. And that should be incorporated with the progression of humanity in exchange for the resources, in exchange for the knowledge of the natural and the supernatural aspects of the human life. Instead of dismeaning and discrediting and dismantling a whole realistic, holistic approach to life, we're given a singular dimension. And that is producing fruits in which they're trying to control these logistics. And this is the reason why we're here today with population control. This is the reason why we're here at a time where they say, no mask, no service. And they're ushering into the new agenda, which is no proof of injection, no service, no interaction with society. So as long as they get a majority of people who initially accept this, now people's already gone. They've already now that is an allies to peer pressure and to force others to then accept this. And then you give these people privileges. They literally got lotteries. They're expediting this in a way where even the way they're expediting this, it kind of throws up red flags. It makes it clear what the agenda is, which makes it like, okay, wow, was this the plan in the beginning? And this is the reason why everything was going on, because this simply was the overall agenda, which there's evidence to prove that this is a plan. And this is the reason why there is such an aggressive censorship campaign. And people are being forced to literally not speak truth in their reality and being separated and distant so that we can't interact and exchange with other human beings. So this is a time where our adaptation and our survival skills, our life skills, have to kick in on a whole fourth quarter light. And the overall objective to all things on the planet Earth that's living is to protect that next generation and give that next generation that boost in the best position to advance into the future, because we're setting the stage for them. And so what that means is that they have to open their worldview, expand their worldview, and move with where this planet is moving. You can't go against it. So this is the catch-22 that many of us are probably going to be facing here in year 2022, where they've already set the presets, that we already know that guidelines turn into mandates. They've already set that precedence with the mask. It started off as a guideline, then it became a mandate. So that was just symbolic, because we know that that mask was not stopping microorganisms. But that symbolism was what we're now looking at to say, hey, there must be really something going on, because without that, you'll be looking around saying, hey, there's nothing really going on. And what's really going on is change, upgrades, 4G to 5G. And with that means greater capacity, new systems, a globalization of government, military, economics, and a digitized health. So we are becoming more of a global society because the government is global, whether you accept it or not. Nationalism was what Trump actually represented. The Trump Pence were blaring, I'm fighting for the country. But the powers that control the social structure, specifically the media, the health, the government, advisory, the law, it's all controlled by a certain sector of society that can be isolated to a specific demographic. And with all of that, if you are conscious of what is really actually happening, you will see the revelations of the prophecies as clear as a Trump's administration. And so now we're in these Biden times where our president is symbolic for the state of our nation. He is the figurehead. His figure represents the people, and our president is not conscious. He's being controlled. He's unable to even make a speech in public. They're hiding him from the public because they know that he is not conscious. They're managing him. He has cards with pictures on it. So they're limiting his public exposure, limiting his global interaction exposure. And we know that the powers below him are women. The vice president, the speaker of the house. And so this is what we know as a subversive environment, where things are happening behind the scenes and the sheep are being manipulated. And that's the way government works. But there is people who are not ruled by the deception, who are not under the spell. And these people need content to let them know that, listen, man, I'm not crazy here. That I am living in an environment that is literally like a sane asylum. And people are actively promoting their own demise. And so what do we do with this? Well, there has to be some type of congregation of those who are on the same vibration. And the only way is by to omit your frequency frequently in order to be able to attract back magnetically. Like I said, we are magnetic force fields that's keeping us down to earth, living in an electromagnetic sphere. And so we are able to omit signals, and then those signals then respond. And so when we send out our signals, this is who we are. This is what my gift is. This is who I am, naturally. Can't make this up. And what you get in return is an attraction of those who respond to who you are and the signals that you sent out. It's really that simple. We are just like everything else on the planet Earth, natural beings, but we have to understand that we were formed, like Adam was formed into a laborer. But God created means to bring into existence. And if we don't know the difference between created and formed, that right there will lead to a false prophecy, false teachings. Just that one small thing. And that's what we need Afrocentric scholarship for. And that's what I'm asking your support, not literally asking for money, but what I'm asking is to sign up for our email list so I can send you content directly and send you opportunity. For example, help promote businesses such as yours. People who support this content will get support embedded into our programming. All right. So we want to support you, but what we're going to all do, instead of asking for front money and donations, what we say is invest. I'm invested. Those who come after me invest, increases the value of my investment. And I'm continuing to build with my community, and those who are early supporters now get a financial benefit for supporting early. It's an investment rather than a donation, because both are good. Both are infusing, or like I said, sending out the vibrations so that you get reciprocity back. So that's what I want to do, but I want to do it in an organized, methodical way, because that is how wealth is generated. Wealth is generation by giving to the community, and the community develops enough to give back more. And we're literally creating an ecosystem. And we have to use the blockchain. Now, if we need to switch to another ecosystem, we can send that communication out and do it in an accord. And that is our wealth, and that is our power as a people. And that is the reason why we're trying to be broken apart. But our knowledge of ourselves will bring us back together. With that said, I hope you enjoyed another Black Swan TV production. Peace.